The iPhone Ultra is actually happening. Yeah, right. I'll believe it when I see it. Okay, iOS 19 is getting a major redesign. Of course, it's the same story every single year. Okay, Apple may be canceling the iPhone 17 event. That's just YouTube clickbait. What's actually going on at Apple these days? Okay, the very first thing I've got to do in this video is spill the tea, because in this case, the tea is piping hot, as the kids say, because Tim and Apple, they're in big trouble. So, you know all those Apple Intelligence features that Apple talked about last June and have slowly been rolling out over the last couple of months? And you know how one of the biggest things about that is the new Siri that sort of knows you and has all these personalization things it can do for you, and basically just, you know, the Siri that Apple always promised that was coming very, very, very soon and would actually be good? Well, now we're learning that is delayed. It was supposed to come with iOS 18, then it was gonna come sort of later in the fall with maybe the iPhone 16 launch, then it was early 2025, and now Apple is saying it's not coming basically until sometime within the next year. So I'm assuming sometime in the next 12 months, could be 2025, 2026, however you wanna put it, it's delayed. And this has sparked a ton of controversy in the tech community, not just from the Apple haters who are, you know, haha, justified in their hatred, but even Apple's most loyal sort of fans, like John Gruber over at Daring Fireball, sort of seem to indicate that they are not happy. Something is rotten in Cupertino, as he puts it, and he sort of lays in Apple saying, there's a lot of things going on here, and whatever the reason for this delay may be, it seems like Apple, again, overpromised, they underdelivered, and it's unclear if they're specifically doing this on purpose and trying to advertise features they know would be late, or if this is genuinely so tough for Apple to pull off, even with all the money and tools and smartest people in the world, they just can't seem to figure it out. Something seems just a little fishy here. And the idea of Apple promising something and then delivering it late isn't necessarily new. I mean, Vision Pro was showed off super early. A lot of iOS features don't ship till later on. That's one thing, but I think what's got people really sort of pissed about this is, for one, it seems like such a basic feature that Apple should be able to do. I mean, even with this OpenAI integration and all the other companies doing this, why they can't seem to do this is just plain weird, especially given how badly Apple needs to salvage Siri's reputation. But the bigger issue people are mad about is that Apple has been actively promoting this as like a huge feature. Like one of the big reasons you should buy the iPhone 16 series, according to Apple, was for this. And now what they've started to do because of this delay is quietly start to change the wording on their website or remove ads that promoted this as a big iPhone 16 feature, which is not a good look because the internet has discovered what's going on here and people aren't happy. This is sort of exactly what Apple did with AirPower 2. Of all the recent Apple events that are publicly available on YouTube, the one you won't find on Apple's channel, which they've conveniently deleted, is kind of one of the coolest Apple events, the iPhone X reveal back in 2017, because within that event, Phil Schiller kind of talked about this. And while AirPower might have been one of those things people would quickly move on from, this I think is gonna be a bigger deal, and now we're not gonna see it potentially until iOS 19. Speaking of iOS 19, I've got some good news here that potentially could be exciting, and that is that according to Mark Gurman over at Bloomberg, iOS 19 might be, and along with that, macOS and iPadOS and all software updates, getting a pretty significant refresh this year and a revamp loosely based off of visionOS. So this could bring more translucent, lifelike, almost skeuomorphic style apps and experiences to our devices. We could be getting circular, round icons a la Vision Pro. And there's a lot of talk that this will be the biggest revamp that Apple software has gotten in terms of visual appearance since iOS 7. Who's been around long enough to remember that and how that went? And in terms of other products we could see, like actually this year, way sooner than later, a couple of things still could be seen at any time. One is AirTag version 2. We had heard this was going to come at a spring event. That obviously didn't happen. More on that in a moment. So that could be popping up on Apple's website at any time. We've also gotten a lot of rumors these days about maybe a new Studio Display version 2 or a new Pro Display XDR that Apple could release. And then, of course, sort of the big thing is the iPhone 17 lineup coming later on this year, which according to all the leaks and rumors and everything we seem to get every day, basically the leaks and rumors are being confirmed over and over again. The design is going to look something like this. There's going to be an iPhone 17 Air or Slim that's going to be super slim, and it's going to be launching later on this fall. Now, there is one product that's seeing a lot of action in the rumor mill that might be happening or might not, and that is this Apple Smart Display Hub. Now, we had heard that Apple was actually going to release this super soon, and we had heard from Apple analyst Ming-Chi Kuo that mass production would start after WWDC, so maybe this would be a June announcement. But then, with this smarter Siri and Apple Intelligence stuff being delayed, we've heard that now this is gonna kind of be shelved and put on pause until they can fix those issues, because they kind of need that smarter Siri to run this home hub thing. And finally, I've got some real interesting additional drama that might actually impact the future of Apple events. Now, if you missed the news, let me turn it over to AI Tim to give you a real quick summary of the new stuff Apple just released.
As you can tell, today's going to be a very different kind of event.
This is the all-new M4 MacBook Air. We've got a beautiful new iPad, an iPad Air, and of course, a new Mac Studio.
Now, while that might be a fake event, having an event at least would be a big step up from what we got, because we didn't get anything. What's very interesting about Apple this year and what we've started to see from them is really a shift away from traditional events. Now, during the pandemic, of course, it made sense that they would switch away from their live events, which were a staple in the tech space, to just doing sort of pre-recorded events. Then they started doing not even live events or like, pre-recorded live releases of events, but they would just like drop a video that was already done as sort of a mini event. The way that Apple has sort of done their events over the last couple of years has been all over the place. And while there was a ton of talk and even a ton of products we could have very well seen at an Apple Spring event, we didn't get that. We didn't get an official event. We didn't get a little mini video. We got nothing. Instead, Apple decided to go with this new strategy that they're going with, which is Tim basically posting on X to look out for an announcement coming sometime over the next couple of days, and then literally announcing the products in combination of a social media post, typically on X, and then you've got a press release on Apple's website. They're still bringing in media after the fact, and they're sort of doing that more traditional gambit, but in terms of product release, there's no videos, there's no events, there's not a lot, just press releases and social media posts, which is kind of weird. Now, on one hand, we did get more of a produced sort of mini event video for the iPhone 16e, but I'm really curious as to why we didn't get that like for an actual spring event. I mean, there was enough here between iPads and Macs and new iPhone 16e for Apple to sort of hold some kind of event. I wonder if something wasn't done. I don't know if maybe some of this Apple Intelligence Siri drama sort of would cloud over what Apple wanted to be, just sort of focused on new products, so that's why they didn't do it. But I definitely think there are some conspiracy theories going on behind the scenes here, and some weird reasons as to what Apple's future is with their events. And I'm curious to see with the iPhone 17, of course, given all this Apple Intelligence stuff again, what they're going to do and what they're going to say and how they're going to present this, because Apple typically likes to go all out for these big major reveals, but they've been changing their strategy lately, and I wonder if we start to see less and less, typical events and more posts on X saying, hey, there's a new thing, go buy it. All right, everybody, so I'm curious for your thoughts in this video. What do you think? What are your thoughts on the Apple Intelligence delay? Do you think this was malicious incompetence? Do you think it was done by design to sort of build up hype even though Apple knew it wasn't going to be happening? Where do you stand on this? Let me know about your thoughts on the drama down below. As always, I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Robert Rosenfeld from the Apple Circle, and I'll see ya in the next one.